Hi, I'm Pam Hayes from Hayes Sewing Machine Company in Wilmington, Delaware, and I just thought I'd talk to you a little bit today about embroidery machines. So they have a lot of different options for you for doing embroidery machines. You can get machines that just do embroidery. You can get multi-needle machines. You can get ones that we would call combination, which means it'll do sewing as well as embroidery. So the cool thing is there's a lot of different options, and then that's also the problem. There's a lot of different options, and so what should you be looking for? It kind of depends on what you're wanting to do. For instance, if we look over here, the Babylock has a model called the Verve. It will give you a 4x4 embroidery hoop. So in English, that means something this size. You can do a lot of nice designs. These are some of the actual designs that are built in to the Verve. So you see some cute designs. And they're a pretty decent size. So if you're beginning with embroidery, it might be a nice option for you. What's also great with it, it has a USB capability on the side. So you're going to see right here. So you're going to have the ability to take a design, and the Babylocks take the PES format. That's one of the most common ones out there. Put it to your stick, put it to the machine, sew it out. Pretty cool on a Sunday night when you can't get out. It's great. Now, you'll see and you'll hear when you're looking for designs in the hoop projects. And you're kind of like, what is that talking about? That's talking about actually making a project in the hoop. No sewing machine required. Only your embroidery. It even puts the zipper in for you. Lined, pretty cool. All right, so you can do all of those type of things. This is a little place to put your scissors. Again, all done in the hoop. Now the only thing you can't, it's not done in the hoop, I hate to say, is I did sew the snaps on. But that's not too bad. We can handle that. The applique on the front, done with the embroidery machine. So when you see in the hoop designs, or just a really pretty, if you're into home deck, there's some absolutely gorgeous things that you can do. However, you'll need to be aware of your hoop size or your embroidery field. That's another term you'll hear. If you take a look on the back of most of the design packets that you see, they will tell you what hoop size that you will need to do to achieve this. For instance, those scissors, okay, see how they have different sizes? Obviously, you need a bigger hoop field for this than this one. But it'll tell you that on the package. So for instance, I showed you the 4x4. Look at this one, 8x12. You can do a lot of fun stuff in there. Really nice. And then they also have one that is a 5x7. So be aware they have different sizes. If you have a machine that does 8x12, automatically you can go smaller. However, if you're at the little Verve, the one we showed you earlier, remember 4x4, that's it. So you're not going to be able to do the bigger hoops. It's a physically smaller machine and it's not going to be able to work for you. Now, I've put together some embroidery handout. Okay, this is embroidery basics. This is going to give you kind of an idea of when you get your embroidery machine, you get it out of the box, then you're like, now what? I'm not quite sure. So with this, it's going to give you some step-by-step what you need to be aware of. Now, you're going to see up at the top, it talks about the 3 basic types of embroidery stabilizers. They fall into categories of tearaway, cutaway, and then just basically unique or unusual. Now, tearaway, just like it sounds, it's going to be something that tears when it's done. Okay, you can rip it away. So most woven fabrics, perfect. And it comes in different weights, so if you're doing a design that's a little heavier or a little bit lighter, they have that. Okay. Next one, cutaway. Think of knit materials. Think of things that stretch. When I try to tear this, nope, can't do it. This, you need a pair of scissors, hence the term cut away. And again, comes in different weights. So think of baby's onesie knit to your polar fleece. So they have different ones to work with. And then the unique and unusual, look at this. Looks like plastic. Well, it kind of is, okay? This one is a water soluble. So I would use this when I am doing something that has texture. Think of corduroy. Think of towels. Think of something that has the nubbles on the top. You would put this on top to hold the texture down while the machine is doing the embroidery. All right. So we talked about stabilizers. Now, take a look at our list. So that's up at the top. Here where it says the embroidery, it says stabilizer for your project. So again, are you working on your knit, your woven, texture, what do you need to have? You're also going to see where it says make sure you have the embroidery foot on your machine. If you take a look at this machine right here, you'll see that it has a circular type foot. It's a foot that this machine requires to do the embroidery. The machine that I'm working on for my big machine is what they call the Pathfinder for the Babylocks. It just does embroidery. It will not have the ability to sew a straight stitch or a zigzag or do a buttonhole. Just embroidery. So this is the foot that comes with that. And at this point, we're going to talk about physically how to hoop. We have a stabilizer that we're going to put onto the back. And I have marked the center of my piece of material. I'm going to take a little bit of the temporary spray adhesive. That is something you'll see also on my handout. So I like using the 505, but any temporary stabilizer, temporary adhesive that you have will be great. And we're going to take and we're going to pop this together. And I'm just going to smooth it out. And I want to make sure that it's going to fit. That's perfect. Now, this little guy, this is your template to help you line things up straight. Most machines come with this. Your hoops come with it. You're going to line it up. And my goal is to see my mark. I line this up so it's right in the center. Now I'm going to take my outer hoop, and that's the one that has the hardware. See how I'm making sure it's nice and loose. I'm going to take my inner ring and place it inside my outer ring, and I'm going to kind of hold it down. It has a screw on the side. I'm going to tighten up that screw. What I find most people don't do is they do not loosen your embroidery hoop, the outside hoop, enough. If you have to stand to get the inner ring in, you're doing it wrong. Now, we can take this piece out, and what we want to check is this. See how the stabilizer is all the way around? We can't cheat. I have seen students, they'll do like 3/4 of it, but up here it doesn't have any stabilizer, and you're not going to get a good stitch out if that is the case. So we are good to go. So let's come over to the machine and we'll talk about what we're going to embroider. When you turn the machines on, you have your embroidery module on, you're going to get a message that basically says the carriage of the embroidery unit will move. What they're talking about is this arm right here. They're trying to tell you, hey, move all the stuff that you have on your table. Move it away. So if you sew anything like I do, we're going to make sure that everything is nice and open. You see how it's going to move? That means it's connected. And we're going to go and we're going to slide the hoop on. So you can see that there's a channel, and we just push it in and push it down. You want to make sure everything is nice and flat, nothing caught underneath. And we're going to go, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a monogram here. So on this machine I have a choice of a frame. So I'm going to just do a circle, and you see the circle come up on the screen. And I'm going to add an initial. I'm going to just put an H in there. And there you go. Now, what you can do for most of the machines, you also have the ability to change the size. You'll see there's a word size there. I can increase the size if I want to. If I want to move it around, up or down, no problem. I have that ability. You're going to see the word embroidery. And I am ready to go. So it's just that simple. Now, I have a red light on my machine. What is it trying to tell me? I have no idea. Actually, I do, but if you touch, it tells you what you need to do. It's wonderful when you're beginning to do embroidery. So it wanted me to lower the foot, which is that button right there. Green, we're good to go. Hit start. And it's going to do all of my work for me. Machines that have only the capability of doing the embroidery quite often don't even have a foot control. All you have to do is have your power, and then it will speed up, slow down, do all of that work for you. The thread that I'm using today is embroidery thread, so it means it'll give you a little bit more of a shine. If you're practicing, any thread that you have at home should work just fine. Be aware if you're doing embroidery with embroidery thread, you want to make sure you use an embroidery needle. It'll actually say embroidery on there for you. And you're going to work with 7511. It's a pretty good standard size to start with. It's good when I'm working with my cotton material. If I was working with something a little bit heavier, then I would go and work with like the 90-14, the next size up. You see that it's going all the way around my frame that I have chosen. And it's doing that satin stitch a lot faster than I can do if I had to turn it myself. And it's mesmerizing to watch. When it comes down and around and it joins at the other side, the machine is going to come to a stop. It's not going to assume that I want to do the same color for the actual letter that I put in, the H. You'll see that the machine slows down, it ties it off, and on this model it'll even cut it for me. See, I'm back to the red light again. You see how it raised the foot.
it's assuming, oh, you might want to change the thread. I don't want to, so I'm just going to lower the foot again and hit start. And it's going to go, and we're going to finish up, and we're going to do our letter H. All right, there's a couple of other things I wanted to also mention to you.
I love to use my embroidery machine for quilting. So, a lot of times be aware, if you're doing an outline quilting design, like what you see here, no stabilizer is needed for that because you have batting in between your back section as well as the front. Traditionally, we put batting in there for quilting. That is enough of a stabilizer, so that's something also to keep in mind. Have fun with your embroidery machines. If you are new to embroidery or you're kind of wanting to test what you want to do, it's fun. I'll give you a fair warning, it's very addictive. It'll jazz up a lot of the things that we have around the house. If you want to monogram towels, very quickly, very easily done. Doing quilting with your embroidery machine is also a very nice option. Hopefully this information helps you today. And we will see you next time. Loretta's going to be demonstrating basic ruler work for quilting. So we're going to be talking about ruler feet and some of the different rulers that are available.
Where to get the handout?
And so you know, if you would love to have this handout, especially as a nice reference, go to our website. It's trevhayes.com. And that's TREVHAYES.com, and go under sewing tips. I'm getting prompted, thank you. Sewing tips, and then you will find where it says embroidery basics. It's a PDF file, you can just download it. Have a good time with your embroidery machine, and we'll see you next time.